So as I mentioned, this is session 2 of Caring for Our Earth's Caregivers. We will be taking a short pause after this 1-hour session for a few weeks. We will let the calendar change to a new year, and then we will resume in January and the beginning of March with sessions 3 and 4. This is being presented by Dr. Kerry Crofton, whom I will introduce momentarily, and this is being facilitated by Green Teacher and Take Me Outside, and I'll tell you a little bit about both organizations very shortly as well. So in terms of Green Teacher's office, we are located in southeastern Ontario, Williams Treaty Territory, which is the traditional lands and still the current lands of the Anishinaabe, Huron-Wendat, Haudenosaunee, and Mississauga peoples. Green Teacher is a charitable nonprofit based in Canada. We are all about enhancing environmental literacy among young learners. We do this through various different channels. I will mention those in a moment. All of this is to support our vision of ensuring that each successive generation of young learners is more environmentally literate than the last. It has certainly never been more important to ensure environmental literacy. And again, how do we do that? Our main channel is our subscriber-based nonprofit digital magazine and resource portal. We have a special issue on teaching and learning about the energy transition and electrification that will be coming out in January. We've published numerous books over the years. Our 2 most recent ones are Teaching Kids About Climate Change and Teaching Teens About Climate Change. Each of these functions as a toolbox for educators to teach about these traditionally challenging topics. We also have a podcast that has been heard in over 85 different countries all around the world. Our latest episode, episode 49, went up yesterday, and it is all about using comics, cartoons, and humor in climate change education. We had a really interesting discussion about the place of humor when handling these weighty subjects and got into some really interesting territory in that discussion. You may have heard about this webinar from some of our webinar partners, fellow environmental and outdoor education organizations. We have many such partners in Canada, all of which are listed here. And we also have numerous partners in the United States and just onboarded our first overseas partner in Ecuador. So we are now going international with our webinar partners. So we always like to give a big thanks to our webinar partners for spreading the word about these webinars so that more and more people can get involved in them. So thank you again to all of our partners. I am now going to shift the virtual baton over to my co-facilitator, Steph from Take Me Outside. So take it away, Steph.
Thanks, Ian. And it's nice to see some familiar names in the room here today. And maybe there's some new folks who missed the first one, but maybe caught up with the recording. So it's lovely to be here back with everyone today. I'm calling in from Duncan on Vancouver Island, British Columbia, Canada, which is all Coast Salish territory. Specifically where I am is where the Kawatsan people, the Cowichan tribes, and the Hulkaminam speaking people have been on this land for many, many, many years. I've only been here for about 30, so I'm grateful to be here in the language of the land. Haichka, thank you. It's great to see everybody. I'm the program coordinator for Take Me Outside. And if we are new to you, we are a nonprofit organization. We work with many partners like Green Teacher, and this is always fun when I get to do stuff like this. More broadly, we work to ensure that students, learners of all kinds are able to spend more time outside playing, exploring, learning, and making that a regular, significant part of every single day. And I'm happy to be presenting a conference that Take Me Outside is helping to put on alongside one of our other partners, the Outdoor Learning Store and Ecom. And that's one of our big main events that's coming up. So I encourage folks to check that out. We do all kinds of events and things, but I'll let you go to our website to check that out. So I will just hype the conference for a moment because it's coming up in May, and I'll put the link in the chat here. It's going to be fantastic. It's in person in Banff, Alberta. The overarching theme is place and pedagogy, where learning happens, but there's sort of 3 sub-themes of Indigenous ways of knowing, health and well-being, and environmental and climate change education. And I know there's a lot of folks here who would probably have some fantastic things to present in those broad themes. So if you haven't already and this is piquing your interest, then you can submit a presentation and hopefully get a chance to present that to all the folks attending. And the presentation call closes on Friday. So I'll put the link in the chat there. But you still have a couple days to get that in, and we look forward to looking over them all. And I put my email in the chat as well if folks want to stay in touch. Or if you win one of our prizes tonight, then or our prize tonight, then you'll have to get in touch with me regardless. So thank you. I'll pass it back to Ian and then probably over to Kerry.
Thanks so much, Steph. And yeah, we're looking forward to the conference in May, and we will be there. Green Teacher will be well represented. So it is now my pleasure to introduce our facilitator, our main presenter. If my slide wants to advance, see, a Zoom meeting would not be a Zoom meeting if there wasn't at least one little technical glitch. The PowerPoint does not want to advance. Here we go. All right, so it is my pleasure once again to introduce to you our core presenter this evening. If it is the evening, I recognize it's not necessarily evening, depending on where you're joining us from. Kerry Crofton is the founder and director of the Canadian charity Global Alliance for Brain and Heart Health. She has spent 45 years of professional work doing developing and delivering wellness programs for teachers, parents, nurses, physicians, cardiac patients, air traffic controllers, commercial and fighter pilots, and others in high-stress occupations. She's the author of the Wellness Guide for the Digital Age, something else that's very relevant these days, as well as her recent book, Less Green, More Green, The Mindful Tech Plan. She had an article based on much of that book in the fall issue of Green Teacher magazine. She's a nature-loving mother and grandmother and once worked as a teacher, and she currently offers Pro-D Less Green, More Green programs for other teachers, as well as the Mindful Tech Plan, the Family Tech Plan, and the School Tech Plan. Welcome once again, Dr. Kerry Crofton.
Thank you, Ian. It's great to be here. And I love seeing the names. I can't see all your faces, but welcome everyone. And it's really inspiring to me to read of, as I just said in the chat, I really appreciate your comments. As you know, the work we do is not easy. And it's really great to have this connection with all of you. So people are joining us from all over. I'm here in Nova Scotia, and I would acknowledge that this is the unceded territory, the ancestral home of the Mi'kmaq people. This land is Mi'kmaqi. And I'm a newcomer here, not just a settler newcomer, but I'm from BC originally. So Nova Scotia is a really inspiring place. There's so many people involved with outdoor education, and we've done forest bathing with kids. And so it's really wonderful to be here tonight. I've been looking forward to this. And so if you didn't join us before, don't worry, I tend to repeat myself in any case. And but I think what I'd like to do first of all is ask Elder Anne Labillois if she would turn on her camera and her mic and invite her to lead us in a short guided meditation. Elder Anne is the elder in residence at Dalhousie University. There she is. And I was so delighted to meet you. And at all of our programs that we've done for Indigenous and non-Indigenous youth, you have brought such grace and power and gentleness. And I'll never forget the healing you did for the trees that had been damaged in our public gardens, and did a smudging. She did a healing smoke ceremony for the trees, for the gardeners, for all of us, for the Indigenous police officers that had come to this gathering, and tourists that were walking by got smudged. It was really wonderful. So Thank you for joining us. And if you would lead us in a meditation, I'm sure lots of people have been scurrying around, taking care of kids and everything. So I look forward to having some breathing time with you.
Oh, thank you, Kerry. Hello, Lillian. Good evening, everyone. Wow, this is, it's quite an honor. I was involved today actually with it's called the Indigenous Accumulative Effects. So they're doing this program about all the accumulative effects of life and everything, how to help the communities better. So it was very, very interesting to be part of. And it's amazing how you learn all the time. All the time. Everywhere you go, you learn. There's something that you learn, you know, to appreciate or work their way through things. So I'm honored to, Kerry asked me to do a little meditation. So I'm going to ask everyone to get comfortable where you are, and we're going to close our eyes and we're going to meet our breath. So I'd like you to take a breath in through your nostrils, and when you release your breath, to let it go out through your nostrils. So let's try that. This breath in, breathe it in and feel it go in, and breathe out and feel how your breath comes out. This breath in, and this breath out. This breath in, and this breath out. Now on your next breath, when you take it in and when you release it, I'm going to ask you to allow your shoulders to melt. You'll feel your muscles just melt and your shoulders will drop. So let's try that. This breath in, and release it and allow your shoulders to melt. This breath in, and relax. Let your shoulders drop even more. It's amazing how far we can drop them. We're so used to having them tight up around our ears, we don't realize how we hold them. This breath in, and this breath out. And just sit and be, and just find your own rhythm of breathing with your breath that you've just met. Because we don't breathe on our own. Our breath is a sacred gift that was breathed into us so that we could exist and live. If we try to think about our breath, think about how we're breathing, we wouldn't be breathing very long because we would get distracted and go off thinking of something else and would forget to breathe. So it's quite a gift to have this sacred breath. And to know that's how special you are. That your breath, when you wake up in the morning, you're still breathing. Now I'm going to ask you, we're going to do a little guided meditation, and it's going to be walking through a forest. So I'd like you to visualize yourself standing in a forest, but this forest going to be whatever you like it to be. Whatever kind of trees you want, whatever kind of color leaves, what kind of birds or animals, or even smells, sounds. And you're going to notice there's a path in your forest. So as you observe everything and look at everything, and oh, what a wonderful place this is. It feels so safe and just wholesome and calm and warm and inviting. This is your forest. It's a reflection of you, of who you are. So now we're going to walk down the path, a ways, gently walking and just drinking in all the beauty. Because now beauty is beauty. How wonderful this is. And as you continue walking, you're going to hear some water. And now as you continue going, you begin to notice there's a stream up ahead. And oh, this stream, it sounds so wonderful. It could be a large stream, or it could be a short stream or a narrow stream. It could be calm or rough, whatever it is. But there is a rock right there, a huge flat rock that connects the shore of your path right onto the water. And it's here to invite you to come and sit. So as you gently walk upon the rock and gently sit yourself down, you feel safe. And you can feel the vibration of the water. You can smell the water. And you've noticed that there's bubbles on this water, on this stream. This is your stream of thoughts. Imagine all those bubbles. Those are thoughts of you in your mind. This is your stream of thoughts. I'm going to ask you to look at one of those bubbles. And it's going to be a bubble that's going to make you a little anxious. So once you become aware of what it is, I would like you to be aware of where you feel that anxiousness in your physical being. Is it in your back? Is it in your stomach? Maybe your feet, shoulders, or even your skull, your head. And now you can take that bubble of thought and place it on a cloud. And you're going to tell that thought, okay, I know what you are now, but I don't need you in this moment. And just push it off and watch it float away and bring yourself back to your breath. You can say, come back to my breath. Come back to this moment. This breath in and this breath out. This breath in and this breath out, and relax and just sit and be with the one who gives you your breath. And just be. And now I'm going to ask you one more time to be aware of the bubbles. And you're going to pay attention to another bubble. And this bubble, though, is going to make you feel very well. It's going to make you feel joy, happiness, even put a smile on your face. And be aware of how it feels in your physical being. Where is that sensation? Where is that? Maybe your heart feels warm. Maybe your hands and arms feel warm. Maybe you feel warm all over, and maybe you don't feel anything. Whatever you feel at this moment is very well. Now, just like before, we're going to take that thought. It's a wonderful thought, but we don't need it in this moment. So we're going to put it on a cloud and allow it to drift off. You can say thank you. And come back to your breath. Come back to my breath. Come back to right here. This breath in and this breath out. This breath in and this breath out, and let your shoulders relax. And just sit and be with the one who gives you your breath. And you can keep working at allowing your shoulders to relax. Sometimes we don't even notice that we start to think again. And right away our shoulders go up. And we have to just keep practicing to allow them to relax in the moment. So now we're going to kind of move ourselves around and stand up on your rock. Gently stand up slowly. You still feel very safe and very comfortable. And you're going to go turn around and go back on your path in your forest. All this is who you are. You can come here anytime. And as you're walking gently along your path and enjoying the beauty of your inner beauty that you see, you're going to notice in front of you there's a beautiful, beautiful tree, a huge tree. And it has a chair carved in it for you. It's for you. So as you make your way and as you sit in it, you feel the love that just hugs you and embraces you. What an incredible feeling. And now that tree is going to bring you back to where you are sitting right now, in this moment. Then you've come to know that you're sitting in your chair and your feet are on the floor, but yet you still feel that warmth, that love, that beauty. And now you can begin to wiggle your fingers and your toes, and even move your feet around a little bit. Gently open your eyes, and you still feel that essence. And then I like to reach up. I like to stretch after I do any kind of in the moments. And just reach up for those grapes that are up there. It feels so wonderful to reach up and slowly bring your arms down. And that you can go there anytime at all, because it's yours. And that is such a gift. That's how special you are. Well, Alan.
Well, Alan. Thank you, Elder Ann. That's really wonderful. Is wonderful. It's a real gift to give us that connection with ourselves. I asked Elder Ann recently, because I'm going to show you these slides in a moment, and one was of Dr. Jane Goodall, of why she felt help for the future. And so I asked Elder Ann, why do you feel hope for the future? And she said, because people can always wake up. And that's really inspiring. So to be awake with this kind of groundedness and to feel that place is really a gift. Thank you. So I'm so relaxed now. I don't know how I'm going to get on with my PowerPoint, but I'm going to. Well, that's the challenge, isn't it? To be active, to be engaged, to be involved, to care deeply, as we all care deeply, but also not to lose our own center and our own ground. So I'd like to share my screen now, if I can. So as I said in our intro before, that we come from different disciplines, we're doing different work, but I think one common value is that we all care deeply about what we do. So whether you're involved in planetary health, you're doing educational programs for kids, Take Me Outside, the wonderful work that Green Teacher is doing. But for this time, and in this program, I really encourage you to focus on your personal well-being. As we've said, this is not selfish or self-indulgent, it's essential. If you're a physician working in ER, you're a nurse in the hospital, you're a parent at home with kids, you're a teacher, we need to take time and energy for our own well-being. So I've been a health educator for many years, as Ian pointed out. And so I'm going to share with you this evening some of the tips and things that I've learned that have been helpful for me. And I think essentially, how do we cultivate our own life force, our vitality and our sustainable energy? And Elder Ann gave us a really wonderful gift. As she said, it's always there within us. We need to connect. So I have sort of mixed feelings about all this information that I'm going to throw out here now. But the last thing we need is any more guilt, any more long to-do lists, a whole bunch of stuff that we don't do that we then feel guilty about. So I invite you to have a different approach to this, and that is feel good about every little positive change that you make. And also that you look to find good in the world. That's a challenge sometimes, I know. And find a wellness plan that works for you. So I'm going to share some things that have worked for me and people that we've worked with. So we have, again, what we call the 4 pillars. And so the first is what we learn from earth-connected cultures. Our green time nature walks, the healing power of nature. As Elder Ann and the other elders said, nature is our medicine. And we have mindfulness practices and also our mindful tech plan. So we're not asking you to take this all on, but really find what resonates for you. So in the first part, is that one of the elders said to me, we are part of nature. We just need to come home. So that's what the guided meditation that we just did for me is really about, coming home. And also let's remember our Zoom fatigue. Elder Ann helped us with that. But remember that when we on a screen, we tend to do this. So as she said, come back in, shoulders drop. So let's see as we go through this. I mean, how many PowerPoints have you seen? How many Zooms have you done recently? Just see if you can kind of let this information flow by. So one thing that I've found truly helpful, and that is, however you want to phrase this, is to reframe your narrative. Because remember, your nervous system is listening. So I've been involved in various environmental groups, whether we're dealing with climate change and just all the other aspects. And it's just so easy to feel overwhelmed with that. It's not even a story, it's how things are. But be very mindful that you're not continuing to carry that dialogue with you, and reframe it. And so that you can be really mindful that your nervous system is listening. So if you are agitated and always talking about all the negative, you're going to be stressed, and that leads to burnout. So we practice hope and appreciation and develop confidence in our resilience, in our human spirit, and the true connection with the land. I have had that good experience from all the elders, and not only the elders, but people who are, like many of you, out in the woods and doing this kind of practice. So you've all heard of gratitude practice. I know it sounds very California, but it's really true. And it's really, try this. I'm developing some arthritis in my hands, too much tech, too much tech time. And so I've developed this in the morning. You wake up and do a little bit of stretching. This lubricates the joints, gets the synovial fluids going. And also just put your mind in the frame of gratitude, as Elder Ann was saying, gratitude for our breath. We don't have to be too precious about this, but it's a very powerful tool. This is a wonderful book that I just got of Dr. Goodall's, highly recommended. And she says here her 4 reasons for hope: the amazing human intellect, the resilience of nature, the power of young people, and the indomitable human spirit. And so whenever you feel yourself lagging and burning out, turn to a book like this and connect with some of the teachings that Dr. Goodall offers. It's really inspiring. So as you know, our program's called Less Screen, More Green. And the evidence shows us that 20 minutes a day really does create lots of benefits for us. Now I'm going to go through this a little bit quickly. As Ian has pointed out, you can go and watch this again if you want. But here's some of the evidence of being in nature and how it affects the well-being throughout our whole being. And I know lots of environmental educators who take kids to the woods, but seldom go themselves. So when you are leading an environmental education program, you're kind of got your teacher's hat, your guide hat, you're looking out for the kids. So make sure you take some time for you. And you don't have to go out to the woods, but just make sure at least 20 minutes a day, you get outside, you breathe, you settle, you connect. Sleep is such a crucial part of all of this. If you are feeling the ill effects of stress, burnout, depression, let's take a look to your sleep habits. I think you know by now, this picture is what we don't recommend. This one is much better. So why is sleep so crucial? Well, one of the reasons is that deep sleep heals and repairs the immune system. It heals and repairs the brain, every cell in the body. So if you aren't getting deep sleep unmedicated, you're really kind of starting to burn the boat. So let me tell you in a few minutes everything I know about sleep. Caffeine. You may have remembered in my intro that I used to work in cardiac clinics, and they used to call me Dr. Decaf because the caffeine affects your heart, the rate and rhythm. So it's really important not to have any caffeine after lunchtime. If you are always looking to caffeine for your energy, it's possible that you have some adrenal exhaustion and you need to look for other ways to nurture your energy. Wine, here's a sad story. Wine has an interesting effect. I used to do this on a flip chart and board. So wine sedates the nervous system, but it has a simultaneous agitation. So when the sedation wears off, the agitation comes. So you may have some wine, depending on your tolerance, and feel great and go to sleep, but wake up later and can't go to sleep. So if you're having sleep challenges, it's better not to have any alcohol at all. As you probably know, if your body's too hot or too cold, that can be a challenge. And noise. Magnesium is a really good mineral. Make sure that you get a chelated one that's well absorbed. And that helps with the nerves and the muscles, a good relaxation. Melatonin, as we age, it decreased the melatonin. And by the way, I'm not a physician and this is not medical advice, but this is my personal advice, is that if you have more of a sensitive nervous system, don't get tablets that have 3 milligrams or 5 milligrams because you want to titrate. With a dropper, you might just need 1 or 2 drops. But melatonin can really help not only to get to sleep, but to stay asleep. The light is really crucial. So have the room as dark as you can. And obviously blue light is a problem for all sorts of reasons. And that's why part of our tech plan is really to power off all your devices at least an hour before sleep. Wi-Fi and your sleep sanctuary. The wireless radiation has also been shown to decrease our natural ability to produce melatonin. It causes the heart to be affected, the rate and rhythm, and also is stimulating for the brain. So I've tried my best to encourage people to turn off your Wi-Fi at night. And everybody says to me, well, what's the point? Because all my neighbors have Wi-Fi. But you're much more affected by your own. So I encourage you, as part of our mindful tech plan, just try it for 3 or 4 nights and see if this is helpful. So remember our 20-20-20. I don't know if we've been doing 20 minutes, but let's do this. Our 20-20-20 is every 20 minutes, look away from your screen, off into the distance, 20 feet for 20 seconds. And you can do a little, see my elder and my shoulders are up already. Okay, shoulders down, breathing. And this refocuses your eyes off into the distance. And with that, you can put both hands on your belly and just do a little belly breathing. And there's another eye exercise that I encourage people to do, and it's called palming. So you can put your elbows on your desk, cup your hands over your eyes, and don't squeeze your eyes shut, just let them be loose, soft, relaxed. When we ask people about the strain that they get from excessive screen time, so much is about the eyes. So you can do these practices indoors, outdoors. really encourage you, if you're feeling the challenges of being an Earth's caregiver, a teacher, whatever, and you know that you're running out of steam and you're kind of relying too much on caffeine or whatever, it's really crucial to develop a personal practice, whether it's walking, yoga, qigong, sitting meditation. Again, forget the apps. It's really good to put your phone away. Sorry, that sounds sort of preachy. One of the benefits also of doing a mindfulness exercise is it tames what we call the tech craving mind. And I would be interested in, when we were doing the guided meditation at the beginning, if any of you had little ping in your mind of, I don't even know where my phone is. Here's my calculator. I use that for visual aid. But this is called fear of missing out. You know, we're so focused on, well, you know, what's happening, or, you know, have I had likes, or, you know, whatever you're kind of hooked into. So the more you can put it down and just focus on the breath, the moment, you're training your brain to feel more at ease without that constant ping and stimulation. The early warning stress cue. So this is a really good tip, and something you need to work on yourself, so that maybe you notice your shoulders are getting up, your jaw's tight, you have a headache, you've got low back pain, or you're just feeling edgy and slightly cranky, whatever it is. So the challenge is wake up then, before you've gone into a full-blown migraine, or you're really blew your top at somebody, or you're really feeling ill. So in dealing with the stress, the sooner we can wake up, then do our breathing, gearing down, it's a very powerful tool. So I'm just going to go through this briefly, because we've already done this. But again, if you want to check in with the replay of this is my wonderful daughter, Dakini. And so the first one is to unplug your devices. Sit quietly in an upright position. Relax your face, neck, shoulders. Rest your hands, palm down on your thighs. When we do this meditation, we have eyes open, but the gaze is soft and relaxed. You pay attention to the movement of your breath, in and out through your nose. Let your mouth and jaw relax. So you let your thoughts and emotions come and go. When I lead meditation retreats, I can't tell you the number of times when we do interviews with people, when I don't know how many times I've said this, and they say, I still can't stop my thoughts, or I still can't make my mind go blank. So I don't know, I could have put this underlined or in bold caps. You're not trying to stop your thoughts. You're not trying to make your mind go blank. It's just constantly coming back to what's happening here, dropping the narrative, dropping the story, letting go of the pressures, things that you're carrying on your shoulders, and just to be here. The breath is always with us, as Elder Ann reminded us. It's sacred, and it's a wonderful way to bring down our stress. So there are lots of chiropractors and people who will tell you what, not only with a lot of screen time, what it's doing to our eyes and our energy on our spine and on our thumbs. And I told you and I don't even text. Now, if you're, 50 years younger than I am, and you're texting all the time, I don't know what your thumbs are going to look like when you're my age, but really be mindful of these joints. We were never meant to be sedentary. We were never meant to sit beside desks as we do. And we certainly were never meant to do this. So stretching, yoga anything you can do. It doesn't, so many people say, I don't have time. Well, I know nobody has time. This, just do this. So our ergonomics, this is everything wrong with that posture, as you can tell. So we talked a little bit about this last time. So you want to be, and your arms are out straight, level here. Ian, can you see my cursor when I do this? Yeah, okay. And then the distance from the screen. So relax the shoulders, forearms are parallel, and it's your lumbar support here. So if you don't have a chair that has that support, put a cushion or something. There's a natural curve of your spine. And so there are term keyboard kids. It's the spine, artificial blue light, sense of isolation, and sedentariness. So it's really crucial. And I know that so many of you that are parents and those of you that are getting kids outside, you're doing really wonderful work, because there's way too much of influence in our culture of give the kid a device to keep them quiet. You may remember this. I think this was Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So, but this is kind of changed now, along with our psychological needs and our safety and security. Now everybody has to have Wi-Fi. It's not that funny. It's so true. I think I told you when I go into a hotel and I ask them if they have a room that doesn't have strong Wi-Fi, and they say, oh yes, but we fixed it. So this is, you don't need another thing to worry about. But the reason that I really want to share this with you is because there are healthier choices. And I notice in myself and many of the people that I've worked with that when they begin to make some of these healthier choices, they have more energy and less stress, they sleep better. So those are all things, if we're Earth's caregivers, we need to take care of. So this is smartphone. This is most of you probably never even seen a flip phone. The good thing about a flip phone is you can make calls when you need to, but it doesn't do much else for you. So it's not going to give you the entertainment. These are digital cordless phones. These are landlines. The problem with these is the base of the cordless phone is like having a little cell tower antenna in your home. So the best thing, honestly, you can do for your health is a corded landline. And I have them so they don't even plug in electrically to the wall. There's just the phone line comes in. So it lasts during a power outage, etc. I have so many friends, you know, and I said, I'm so glad you still got your landline. And they say, yeah, Kerry, but you're the only one who ever calls me on it. So you have to retrain your friends. Also, the healthier choice is, if you can, switch from Wi-Fi to Ethernet. The problem with the Wi-Fi is that the wireless radiation causes some health concerns, adverse health effects, whereas with Ethernet, the data goes, the information carrying radio waves don't go through the air and through your brain and heart and everything. It goes right through the Ethernet cable. It's also a more secure connection. So I didn't show this slide. Remember this slide from last time where somebody's going like this? So if you feel like that, just take a breath. So remember, you don't have to do all these things, but this is what I want you to know, for this is really part of our mindful tech plan. So do your tech time, then unplug. A mindfulness practice is really crucial. Healthier ergonomics, the setup of your workstation and doing your eye exercises, really helpful. Consider analog options. When we do programs with kids, we give them all paper journals and pencils, and they love it. Battery alarm clock is a really good thing to invest in, as well as a corded landline. Put your all devices on airplane mode whenever possible. You're being exposed whenever the device is in ascending and receiving mode. So as soon as you put it on airplane mode, then you're not getting that kind of exposure. And so also never hold a mobile phone against your head. It's all about proximity. If you can, use a wired earpiece, wired mouse and keyboard, and be wary of smart gadgets. Switch wireless internet to wired. It's a more secure and safer connection. At least power off all Wi-Fi and devices at night to ease insomnia and enhance immune restoring sleep. Unplug and get outdoors at least 20 minutes each day. The best digital detox. Time in nature can reduce tech dependency, stress, anxiety, depression, and boost mood and energy levels. So I know it feels overwhelming, but honestly, I can't tell you the number of people who have done our workshops and who have been in touch afterwards and said, well, you know, I don't know about all this, and my husband sure didn't believe you. But anyway, he wants to see more research, so that's fine. We have lots of evidence and research on our website. She said, but you know, we really tried what you said about turning the Wi-Fi off at night, and it's amazing. We're all sleeping better, even the kids. So that's why I keep going. So we're going to our next meeting in January 18th, some of the research and recommendations, what we need to know about digital dependency and detox plans. This is the author of iMinds, Dr. Mari Swingo, and Dr. Jed Brewer, who wrote The Craving Mind. This is Dr. Deborah Davis, and we're going to tell you about SAR in your cell phone, smart technology, testing meters, and creating a truly healthy home. This is Dr. Martin Blank, and we're going to share with you some of the concerns with the standards, and also some information on what's called electrosensitivity. None of us need another syndrome. We've got all too many health challenges already. But it's really useful information, because if you're living in a smart house and you may be, you don't have a meter, so you can't test the levels of where all this is coming. Headaches, you may be getting chest pains, you may be getting skin rashes, your eyes are bloodshot, but you don't know how to connect the dots, so you don't know how to deal with it. This is a physician from the UK, a Dr. Erica Mallory Blythe, and she has done a lot of information on electrosensitivity. So these are some of the symptoms that can be related. Tinnitus, ringing in the ears, skin rash, itching, burning, eye problems. Now, of course, there are lots of things that cause these. So what you need to do then is get a sense of, if you reduce your exposures, how does that affect you? But let's not forget what we know about the restorative power of nature, and feel good about the work that so many of you are doing with young people. And there's some great resources. This other book of Dr. Goodall's that I mentioned, the new one, and she has many other books. This is our book, The Less Screen, More Green. And as you may be able to see there, Dr. Goodall very kindly wrote a brief forward jacket quote for us. Another book that I really recommend is called Conscious Nature, The Art and Neuroscience of Meditating in Nature. So let's focus on, as I said at the beginning, feel good about every little positive change that you make. And I would encourage you, I won't see you before the holidays, but please consider low-tech toys for gifts. And the love of nature is the best gift of all. This is my grandchildren. See, oh, we've been together all this time and I haven't shown you any pictures of the kids. I have showed you my daughter, but this is the grandkids down by the lake. And they won't be getting any iPhones from me, that's for sure. I give them boring, not I shouldn't say boring, but they love to be outside, and they play with sticks and stones and run in the water, and it's great. So if you can do this for the children in your life, it's a great gift. So thank you, everyone. And as I said, be well, take care. And we'll see you on January 18th, hopefully. And Ian has been very kindly asking you if you would please fill out this survey. I don't know that I always do surveys when people ask me, but in this case, it's really helpful. It'll really be, it will help us in terms of developing the program and future funding for this program, and to make this available for others. So I think, Ian, could you put in the link in the chat again, if you would? And I would really encourage. And I read all the chat stuff. I don't do it while I'm yakking, but I read it afterwards. So we really appreciate your comments. And so do we have time, Ian, if people have questions?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we can call this sort of the official or formal endpoint, but if anyone does have additional questions or insights, or just kind of wants to chat, I'll certainly be here, and we'll take any questions or discussion points that come up. And I'm just adding in the chat box here the survey. There we go, survey. And we'll include that in the follow-up email, and we'll also post a link to the survey on Green Teacher's website, where the recording of the first 2 sessions will be for the next 30 days. So yeah, thank you everyone for joining us for session 2. As Kerry mentioned, we look forward to seeing you January 18th. Have a good rest of the year. My goodness, it's almost December.
I know. So let's, Ian, are we going to take some questions? And then also, if people wanted to stay on, could we just do a few minutes in breakout rooms?
Prizes. Steph has just reminded me. We need just before you go, we have prizes, or I should more specifically say, Steph has prizes.
Okay, Steph.
So I'll pass it over to Steph first.
Sorry, I mentioned breakout rooms because that's when you really lose a lot of people.
No problem. I can jump on and do some prizes first. Well, and I know that there's been amazing things in the chat so far, but let's do it this way. If you type in something in the chat, something you're going to take away for until we meet next time, what's one step you're going to take that you've been learning about today? And I'll choose someone who writes into the chat. It's a nice way to also see what folks are resonating with folks too. Oh, and Donna, you're going to keep your landline. Amazing. I haven't had a landline in a long time. But they're also quite cheap now because of this this phenomena of not many folks having them. So it's a good option. Okay, Donna K and Brittany Baker, you were the first 2, but feel free to please keep writing in the chat. But if you want to reach out to me, Donna K and Brittany Baker, with your email, you can just private message it to me in the chat. I will pass along a gift card to the Take Me Outside store. I'll post it in the chat if you're interested. And I will actually have to jump off, but I will let Ian and Kerry close things out after I get those emails from Donna and Brittany. But thanks for everyone writing in the chat. There's some really lovely things going in there.
And thank you, Steph, and thanks to all our friends that Take Me Outside. You folks are doing such great stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much, Steph. Thanks for the prizes. And
yeah,
we'll also post the chat box in a link to the chat box in the follow-up email and on the Green Teacher website. So if you need to head out, totally understandable, because after all, we are trying to limit screen time and increase screen time. But if you do have any additional questions or want to stick around, Kerry and I will be here. So we welcome anyone who wishes to stay. we won't stay for too long to stay true to form, but we just wanted to make sure that we left that additional time